Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly glad you're joining me today because we are tackling a topic that frankly frustrates so many people, especially when you're just starting out on a fitness journey. Yep, we're talking about belly fat. But look, we aren't just going to sit here and complain about it. We are going to look at the exact science-backed methods to safely and effectively target it. If you're brand new to exercise, or hey, maybe you're just coming back after a really long break, I want you to know right now you are in the exact right place. I'm going to guide you through a supportive, step-by-step action plan designed specifically for beginners, and we're focusing on safe, low-impact movements that actually deliver real results.
To kick things off, let me ask you a question that might just challenge everything you thought you knew about weight loss. Is all belly fat the same? I mean, it's a super simple question, but the answer is quite literally the key to unlocking real, lasting health. We so often look in the mirror and treat all the fat we see as one single enemy, but biologically speaking, that couldn't be further from the truth.
To completely demystify this, here's our roadmap for today. First, not all fat is equal. Second, the science of afterburn. Third, low-impact moves that work. And finally, your beginner action plan.
All right, let's dive into section 1. Not all fat is equal.
Take a look at the really clear difference between these two types of belly fat here. Over on the left, you've got subcutaneous fat. That's the kind that sits just beneath the skin. You know, the kind you can actually pinch with your fingers. But on the right, that is visceral fat. This stuff lives deep inside your abdominal cavity, literally wrapping itself around vital organs like your liver and stomach.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding how differently these two behave. Subcutaneous fat, that pinchable kind, might be the stuff that frustrates us when we're trying on clothes, but medically speaking, it's actually much less harmful. Visceral fat, though, that is the true hidden danger. It is highly metabolically active. And what that means is it actively pumps inflammatory chemicals right into your body. And it's strongly linked to way higher risks of heart disease, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. So while we might obsess over the pinchable fat, our primary goal for our health and the whole focus of our explainer today is targeting and eliminating that deep, dangerous visceral fat. Moving right along to section 2, the science of afterburn. Let's see how we actually beat this stuff. Okay, the secret weapon lies right here in the red peaks on this graph. See that blue line? That represents steady cardio, like a slow jog. The calorie burn stops pretty much the second you stop moving. But those red peaks, those represent short bursts of intense effort. Notice that massive shaded red area trailing off to the right? Your metabolism actually stays elevated for hours, meaning you are literally burning extra calories while you're resting on the couch later on. Now, scientists call that massive red zone EPOC. Excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. But honestly, we're just going to call it the afterburn effect. Basically, when you do short, concentrated bursts of effort, you create an oxygen debt. Your body then has to work overtime to replenish that oxygen, clear out waste products, and repair muscle cells. That whole recovery process requires massive energy. And guess where that energy comes from? Straight from your fat stores.
But why does this target visceral fat specifically? Well, it all comes down to your hormones in your cells. These short bursts act almost like biological keys. They trigger a massive surge in catecholamines, which are your fat-burning hormones. And visceral fat happens to be extremely sensitive to these hormones, so it gets mobilized first. On top of that, this kind of training builds more mitochondria. Think of those as the tiny power plants inside your cells, and dramatically improves your insulin sensitivity. Simply put, you're upgrading your body's cellular machinery to preferentially attack deep belly fat.
So how do we do this safely? Let's get into section 3, low-impact moves that work.
Let's look at our first move, the burpee. Now hold on, I can practically hear you groaning through the screen, but don't panic. In its traditional form where you drop to the floor and explode up, yeah, it's a total calorie incinerator. But it can also be incredibly tough on beginner joints. The good news is you absolutely do not need to jump around like an Olympic gymnast to get those incredible results. So here is your safety-first, low-impact modification. We are just going to remove the jump entirely. You'll squat down, place your hands firmly on the floor, then simply step one foot back, then the other, landing into a nice, strong plank position. Then just step them right back forward, one at a time, stand up tall, and reach for the ceiling. That's it. No jumping, no crashing impact on your knees or your wrists. But you still engage all the exact same major muscle groups, and you get that heart rate up beautifully.
Okay, let's dive right into our next one, high knees. Now, the standard version is essentially running in place while driving your knees up as high and as fast as possible. It's fantastic cardio for sure, but that repeated landing impact, it can be pretty jarring if you're not used to it.
Our beginner fix for this is incredibly straightforward. We just turn it into a powerful, intentional march. You are still going to drive those knees up towards your chest, but you're stepping. You're not running. I want you to pump your arms just like a sprinter would. And the best part? You control the speed. If you want to raise your heart rate more, simply march faster. Need to catch your breath? Just slow the pace down. Always listen to your body. The goal here is effort, not pain.
Next up, we have jump squats. This involves lowering into a squat and then using all your power to explode upward into a big jump, landing softly right back into the next squat. Obviously, it's amazing for building lower body power and torching fat, but jumping out of a deep squat is definitely an advanced move, and it requires perfect form to keep your knees safe. To modify this, we're simply going to keep our feet firmly planted on the floor. You're just going to perform a standard, strict bodyweight squat. Focus entirely on pushing your hips back like you're sitting down into an invisible chair, keep your chest up proud, and drive through your heels to stand back up. If you want to dial up the intensity for that afterburn effect we talked about, just increase the speed of your squats, but keep those feet completely grounded. Trust me, consistency in doing a basic movement correctly beats a sloppy advanced move every single time.
And our final core move is the plank jack. Normally, you'd start in a high plank position, like the top of a push-up, and you'd jump both feet out wide and back together, just like doing a jumping jack while horizontal. It's an awesome combination where core stability meets a real cardio blast. But that hopping motion can sometimes cause beginners to drop their hips, which puts a lot of nasty strain on the lower back.
So you guessed it, we eliminate the hop. You will hold that strong high plank, keeping your core super tight and your back flat like a table. Then, you simply step your right foot out wide to the side and then bring it back to the center. Then step your left foot out wide and back to center. Alternating sides like this gives you amazing engagement of your deep abdominal muscles without any of that risky bouncing. It is safe, it is perfectly controlled, and it is highly effective for targeting your midsection.
All right, we've got the moves. Let's pull it all together in Section 4, your beginner action plan.
Here is your perfectly manageable, highly effective beginner routine. First rule of thumb, aim for just 3 times a week and never on consecutive days. Seriously, your body absolutely needs those rest days to repair itself and actually burn that fat. Start with a light 5-minute warm-up, just walking around the room or doing some arm circles. Then pick 4 or 5 of the low-impact moves we just learned. You're going to perform one move for 30 seconds, pushing yourself safely. Then, and this is important, you get a full 30 seconds of pure rest. Then move to the next exercise. Repeat that entire circuit 3 or 4 times. The whole shebang, you'll be done in under 20 minutes.
However, we really have to remember that while exercise is the accelerator, your lifestyle is the actual vehicle driving you forward. To really make this visceral fat disappear, you need to combine your new workout with a moderate calorie deficit, eating roughly 500 calories less than you burn in a day. Prioritize high protein and high fiber foods to keep you feeling full and to protect those muscles you're building. And honestly, just as importantly, get 7 to 9 hours of sleep and find ways to manage your stress. High stress and poor sleep spike a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol literally signals your body to store more visceral fat. We definitely don't want that.
I want to leave you with this really fantastic quote directly from our source material today. Rapid results come from consistency, not extremes. You've got this. You absolutely do not need a punishing, no pain, no gain mentality to succeed. You really don't. You don't need to starve yourself, and you certainly don't need to do advanced gymnastics to see your health transform. You just need to show up, use these safe, low-impact modifications, and just be consistent week after week.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to think about taking some immediate action. You've got the science, you've got the strategy, and you have the safe exercises. So, which low-impact move will you try today? Seriously, even if it's literally just 5 minutes of marching in place in your living room, take that first step. Your body and your long-term health will totally thank you for it. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you on the next explainer.